everyone, Teeny here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Well, today we're going to make a pretty easy card. We're doing what I like to call die cut dipping, and we're using some Altenew watercolors. I have here the 24 pan set. This, you see how vibrant these colors are? This watercolor set keeps this color. It's very vibrant watercolor. I haven't used this in a very long time. But I tell you, the colors in here are just gorgeous, and I thought they would make a really pretty poinsettia. So I'm using this to do my die cut dipping today, and I'll link this down below. It's a really nice set. Okay, and then I'm also going to be using the Lush Botanicals Poinsettia. This is brand new to the shop, and it's beautiful. This is actually a emboss and cut set, so you can emboss after you die cut. You can emboss it. Okay, makes beautiful large poinsettias. So I thought we would do die cut dipping with this. Okay, and I'm not going to use the embossing folder today, but at the end of the video I'll show you a card that I made with the embossing folder. Okay, and I used it intended purpose and then not intended purpose. So stick with me to the end, or fast forward it to the end if you can't wait. But I created another card embossing. Okay, I'm going to be using the Love Label or Label Love sentiment stamp set. If you don't have a stamp set like this, you can use sentiment strips. I think that will work out great. And then let's see, I'm breaking out my watercolor brushes from Altenew. This is a really nice set. I say that, and I wanted to share with you why. It's because the barrel, you see the barrel here? If you guys like to watercolor floral images, this is a great set for that. Okay, today I'm not gonna use the smaller ones. I'm actually gonna use the bigger one just for stirring, but I did want to share them with you. Okay, so that's that. For my card today, we're making it quick and easy, and I'm using the Altenew Craft Your Life graph tape. Now this tape's no longer available. Okay, and let me show you what it is. It's basically a grid line tape. Let me open it up here so you can see. I picked this up a while ago. I wanted to use it so bad, but by the time I used it, they didn't have it in the shop no more. Okay, but this is going to make a great background for my card today. Now, at the end, too, stick around, because I want to share with you a substitute that you can use with this. Instead of this, since it's no longer available, I'm going to show you what you can use instead. Okay? I'm also going to be using some brand new adhesive foam squares. This is brand new to Altenew shop, and there's 3 different sizes. You have squares, you have circles, and then you have strips. I'm going to be using the squares today, but the neat thing about the squares is I actually put them on my release paper here. I want to share with you. There's 8 different sizes in this pack. There's 2 sheets, 2 of these sheets in here, and then you get all of these sizes. Great for sentiments. Then you get standard square, small square, and then you also get this, which is half of each of these. Sometimes we use our scissors and cut the foam squares. Altenew did it for us. So how nice is that? I do want to mention too, with these foam squares, I found it easier once you adhere them to your projects. I don't know if it was my nails or what, but it was easier for me to remove the release paper with my craft tool or my pokey tool, just to take off the yellow backing. It was easier for me to use a craft pick. Okay, I do want to mention that with the foam squares. We are going to jump in and get started, but before we do, I want to go over the watercolor cardstock that I'm using. Both of these are from Altenew. Today I'm using the cold pressed 5x7 100% watercolor cardstock. There's 10 in a pack, but Altenew does have a hot pressed, which is a 30 pack. This one's actually on sale right now. But the difference between the cold pressed and the hot pressed is cold pressed has tooth to it. It has texture to it. Let me show you. Okay, I don't know if the camera will pick up the texture in here. Maybe a little bit, if it will focus. But there is some texture on here, okay? Now, cold pressed, this when you add watercolor to it, it soaks in the paper right away because of how because of the tooth that's on here. So this is going to dry really fast too. So this is great for watercoloring backgrounds or even layering colors, okay? Now, the hot pressed, if you guys, let me show you. Hot pressed is smoother, okay? And same weight, but this is just smoother. And the hot press is a cardstock that you would maybe want to stamp on, and then you can move colors around more with the hot pressed because it sits on top of the paper longer, okay? So if you want to mix a green and a blue, you can actually mix them together with your brush, and it takes longer for it to seep in the paper, okay? So that's just the difference between the two, at least what I know of the paper. I'm sure there's more in-depth. I'm not a watercolorist, but I do know a little bit about watercolor paper, so I just wanted to share that with you. We're using the cold press today, but you could use either or. I like the cold press again because it's going to dry really fast. Now, stick around to the end because today I mentioned that we're not using the embossing folder. We're just going to use the die, but at the end, I'm going to show you a way to create the card using the die so you can have the texture with the poinsettia the same way. And then I'll show you an unintended way to use this embossing folder that's really pretty. So stick around to the end for that extra card. And then also, I'm sorry about this is not available anymore, but if you want to replace it, the grid die, okay, is a great replacement. Okay, for this. Okay, you would just cut this out with white cardstock and then just trim it down a 2-inch strip. And you could replace it if you have a grid die or use a checkerboard paper if you wanted to. Okay, let's jump in. That was a long kind of intro. Usually I like to keep my intros pretty short and sweet, but we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to start by doing some die cutting. Now with the poinsettia, if you want a poinsettia leaf, like this one doesn't have the leaf, that's this entire die. If you want to add the green leaf behind here, you would cut this one out twice. Okay, this is an extra one that you would add. And that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to cut out all of these and then an extra large one because I do want a leaf. Okay? And I'm going to take my poinsettia and I'm just going to die cut this out. What does this say? It says, it actually has centers written on here, which is pretty cool. I need a little dish of water to rinse my brush. This is a cute little collapsible. It's a collapsible cup. How cool is that? Okay, I'll link it down below. I got this on Amazon, but actually has a little teddy bear in the back. But you can open it up here. It's travel. It's made for travel, but I use it for my watercolor. It works out perfectly. Add some water in here, because I can smush it and fit it in my watercolor storage bin. And I'll link it down below for you guys if you're interested. Okay, we saturated these. We're gonna do green for the leaves. And I'm gonna use this olivey green. Let's see, 3, which would be 6 over. And I can tell you the color. It is called Tropical Forest. Each of the pans have colors on them. Okay, so I'm going to just add some green here. And then all I do is dip. This is so fun. If you guys haven't did this, you think ink smooshing is fun. This is just as fun. Okay, I'm gonna add some more water. And then we just dip them in here. I need my tweezers. And then this is where my paintbrush will come in. I'm gonna take another green. Let's take this green here. And then I'm going to add a little bit more here. And then we can add a little extra green here on the sides. Just dip them in there. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I'm gonna, well, maybe a little more green over here. You see how vibrant these are? Just gorgeous. Okay, that's all done. I'm gonna put that aside to dry. And then next, I'm going to add yellow to my flower center here. Add some water here. And then all we do is dip our flower center in here. And we're going to let that dry. And then we can bring in our poinsettia. Now the rest of these we're going to color in. We're going to go with a light red and a dark red. I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, I'm going to add some water. And then I'm going to pick up the lightest red that I have. And I'm just going to add it here. And then all I'm going to do is dip my flower in here. I guess it's considered a leaf. So that's done. Okay, but I'm also going to add, rinse this off. I'm also going to add the darkest red. We're going to actually add a darker red here too on this side. This is more like a magenta. Look how pretty that is. Okay, and then we can dip this one in here, maybe a little on the edges. Isn't that gorgeous, those two colors? Die cup dipping is nice. Okay, and then there's that one. We'll put that aside. Let's do our next one. I think we have plenty of ink here. There we go, add a little bit of this color. That's all done. And I do like, there's little edges of white. I do like that, okay? So you don't have to fill in the whole area. We're gonna add this next piece. Just dip it in there, just like that. Look how pretty, that's all there is to that. You see how we'll do this little piece. Add a little here, lovely. And then we'll do this piece. This is something that you could mass produce very easily, and it's really fun. Okay, and that's all we're doing. Okay, so I can clean off my work surface. Any kind of splatter you have, I'm going to use my Hero Arts white acrylic splatter. Just going to add some here, and we're just going to add some white splatter. This is just going to bring it all out. So now we have some snowfall on here. Okay, these are going to go set aside. We're going to let these dry organically, and then in the meantime we can work on our sentiment and our card base. Okay, I'm going to use some leftover watercolor panel here. And I'm flipping it to the smoother side, and I'm going to stamp just for you here. I think that could go with Christmas. Let's pick that up. I'm going to stamp it with my black ink. There we go. I had to stamp it quite a few times because of the texture on here, but that would be my greeting. I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to trim this out. I'm going to trim out a little bit of a white edge. I think that will soften it. For some reason, these kind of stamps, when they're blocked off like this, I can use my scissors and stamp and cut them pretty straight. But if it didn't have that black outline, I'm in trouble. I want to put this behind here. We'll put it on here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and take our card base. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of ivory cardstock. Let's trim this down to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So I'm going to add a white layer behind here, but before we do that, we are going to take our graph die cut tape. You know, before we add this, maybe we'll smush a little blue on here. Maybe we'll add a little blue. What do you think? I want to add some blue. We'll add a little extra color. Okay, this is an afterthought. But I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm just going to add a touch of blue here. I really like this one. I'm going to add more water. I'm going to add more. I'm going to really dilute this out. And then I'm going to take the packaging. I'm just going to pick a little bit up here. I want to do some smushing. There we go. That's it. Just a little bit of color. Okay, and then I'm going to use my towel. I'm going to dab it off. Just so it's nice and soft. Let's try it. Okay, I really like the way that looks. Really nice and soft. And then I'm going to take my washi and we're going to go over the middle. Oh. There we go. You can actually wrap this around if you wanted to. And in fact, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll just wrap it around. Okay, then I'll take this and adhere this to the front of my card base. Now we can layer all of our elements here. We're gonna add a little glue. The keyhole makes it really easy. You just add some glue around the edge. Okay, then you just line these up. You have layer 1. This is layer 2. Add a little glue behind here. And then this is layer 3. We can add our next layer. And then our final layer. And you can't get any easier than that. How beautiful. Okay, I am going to take the foam squares here. And I'm going to take the smaller ones and I'm going to pop up each of these layers. Give this a little bit of dimension. Okay, then I just flipped it over and I'm going to add foam tape behind here. I found it easier to remove the release paper with a craft tool. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, my poinsettia, and then we're going to layer it here on, we can layer this on our leaves. And look how pretty. Isn't that so pretty? I am going to add some more foam squares behind here. Okay, I like a lot of dimension. I've always said that, but if you don't like all this dimension, you can skip adding all the layers. Okay, now we're going to take this. I'm going to add it here. I think it'll look really pretty right here. Then we have the flower center, which you just add a little glue, and then there is a keyhole on this piece. Let's add this piece right here, and then I'll add a little glue. You see, the reason we don't need to, we really don't need to color that in, because we put this one right on top of it. Now we're almost done. We just need to add our greeting. I'm going to add it off to the side here. This is just regular white twine. And for Christmas, you know I love my jingle bells. I have some jingle bells here. I'll link them to the ones that I use down below. But I can actually thread this twine with the jingle bells. I'm going to add 3. I like to tie a knot with it, so my bells are in like a triangle shape. And then I like to tie a bow with it. So the bells are in the bow's center. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in a glue dot. I just give it a good press down, and the bells just kind of go in the center. We'll trim down the tails. Lovely. Now I'm also going to bring in some stellar sequins from Altenew. These are just lovely. And I'm going to add some sequins in different sizes to my card. And that will finish off my card today. I love die cut dipping. It's so easy and so fun. And with the Altenew's poinsettia, with the keyhole system, it makes putting together flowers so easy. Okay, that's that one. Now, as promised, I wanted to share with you another card that I made using the same poinsettia. Okay, but this one is embossed. You just die cut out, you would do your die cut dipping, and then once it dries, or is even partially dry, put it inside your embossing folder. Put it inside your embossing folder, emboss your petals, and then use the keyhole system to layer it. So the same way. Now, and then a great replacement for this grid would be this one. Okay, just maybe put white cardstock behind it. I actually had trimmed this down. Okay, so you could actually use a strip. Just a little white strip. Just to kind of break up the background a little bit would be great on here. Another thing that I did that I wanted to share with you is this embossed detail in the background was made with this embossing folder. Okay, these are numbered layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but if you take a 2-inch wide strip of white cardstock, put it inside the embossing folder like this, maybe less open area, maybe this way, like this, and emboss this, you will get this beautiful embossed poinsettia background. And so there's a little bonus card using the embossing folder over here. Let me know which one you like better. Do you like the softer one with a lighter background, or do you like the pink grid over here? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, thanks so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.